If somebody came to you and said, Jim, I know you've raised children. What is your advice for me? I'm a new parent.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to them?
Don't hit them. Do not hit them. And the reason, you don't have to hit your kids. And I did hit my son once, and he was a toddler. I gave him a pat on the ass, ass and thigh area. And because he wasn't behaving, he wasn't doing what he was supposed to. And he looked at me, and he's just a chunky guy, just a little guy.
Yeah.
And he's sitting on the bed, and he points at me. And he goes, you really? And I was just blown away.
What is the translation of that from baby talk?
I think it was, you're an asshole, and stay away from me if you're going to do stuff like that. And it just threw me for a loop, Richard. It really did. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? Oh, I am an asshole. And I was like, what am I hitting my little, oh my God, don't hit them. There's no reason to ever hit them. And just an offshoot of that too, I'll have one other episode where I saved my son, but it was my fault kind of too at the beginning. He was in his bassinet, and I just fed him, his baba, and I thought he burped enough, and I put him down, and he's got this look on his face, and I'm going, uh-oh, he's got to burp again. And right as I was going to pick him up and put him on, burp him, he barfs, and the barf goes straight up into the air and back onto his face and in his mouth and in his nostrils. And I was like, oh, no! And I picked him, oh, no, stupid-ass dad. And I put him, and I could see his little head, and he was gasping for air. Getting all the puke out of his mouth and nostrils. And I was like, oh, I'm such a jerk. Oh, my God, I'm sorry. Oh, no. And I was wiping with the thing, the baby cloth, and wiping his face and his nostrils. Oh, he went through hell. Barf is hot, and it stings. And I'll just never forget that. And I had to include that. I don't know why. Well, and get scared the shit out of me.
Okay, so that's from the baby era. Yeah. How about in the teenage era? Sometimes the teenagers will start acting rebellious. Did that ever happen with your children?
Never. No, it didn't. Yeah, I mean, there was a little lying. When they first start lying, it's like, and I'll say this because I heard it before from somewhere else, but it's true. It's like they're the first one to think of it. You know what I mean?
They don't know that lie's been used many times.
That's right. Oh, yeah, it's like, hey, I have an opportunity here. Yeah, that's what I did. That's kind of like John Lovitz, when he was the habitual liar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what I did. And, you let them get away with it for a while. But, no, my kids were never rebellious. I think it was mostly because they had so many interests. And I think that might be another thing. You always encourage them, too. They need encouragement because that makes them feel better. You don't want negative kind of stuff. And I think what we were talking about before with suicides and stuff like that,
yeah.
I think a lot of that might have to do with, negative vibes. You don't want negative vibes, You want positive vibes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
In other words, you don't want to bring up the fact that they struck out 4 times. You want to talk about the one time they went up the bat and got a hit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And but that doesn't mean that we can't try to improve on the strikeouts, Yeah. You're making me think about that Judge guy of the New York Yankees right now.
Yeah.
He just ended his strikeout string. He had strikeouts in 38 straight games.
Oh.
And I just found out that it ended the other night because they substituted another player for him in the later innings of a game so that he didn't come to the plate. Now, I don't like that. I don't know how you feel about that.
It's sort of like a false way to end the strikeout thing.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. It's Sissy Mary kind of stuff. That's like if you have a chance to win a batting title, they'll keep you out as long as you're over a certain amount and you got the batting title, so you don't have to bat no more, because if you bat, your batting average might go down. That's the only word I can think of for it. Sissy Mary. Yeah.
Now, when your children then reach the point, now are either of them married?
Yeah, my daughter just got married,
Uh-huh.
and that's why I got my injured leg from dancing. But I danced the whole night, and it was great. And we had it at Pearl Street, downtown Buffalo.
Sure.
Fantastic place. Somebody that I work with, Caitlin, she's going to be having hers the next month. I'm looking forward to going again. It's going to be great. You can't lose. I mean, the place is top notch, #1. They do everything for you and more. They're always asking you. They're always coming up. Can we do this for you? Is there anything that we're missing? What else do you want us to do? It's like, you guys are great. It's just a wonderful place to have anything. Whether it's a wedding or charity thing or as long as you got the scoots.
Do you think that they charge you a reasonable rate?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. We got off, I thought it was reasonable. Yeah, in comparison. My daughter wanted an event space. We also looked into the possibility of Shays, the Shays Theater.
Oh, they rent that out for weddings.
Well, for events and stuff like that. But our contact wasn't able to come through, or they already had something scheduled. And plus, her boyfriend, now her husband, popped the question to her exactly a year before that. So that's another thing. If you're going to schedule something, make sure it's probably more than a year before it actually happens, when your event's planned or scheduled, because they run out of weekends.
If somebody pops the question now in August of 2017,
they may not have anything available next year. Very possible.
You mean you should say, well, okay, let's start planning now for the event, because you have to say you need a lot of lead time, right?
You'd probably be lucky to get a Friday or a Saturday there right now for next summer. We got the last Friday or Saturday in July or August of this year that were available a year ago. And August 12th was the only weekend day or weekend night, which happened to be a Saturday. She was initially thinking about a Sunday, but see, she had all the people from Boston coming from Boston here, because she lives in Boston, Massachusetts. So that's his side of the family. And that wouldn't have worked out for a lot of them. A Sunday deal, they probably would have had to have taken off the following day, Monday, and missed work. So, we settled on the Saturday date, and it worked out, and it was great. Just fantastic.
Now, you have a son also, and your son is single, or?
My son is single right now. His girlfriend's name is Robin, and she lives with us also now. My son recently graduated from UB with a degree in accounting. He also has his master's in accounting. And he works downtown. In fact, he gave me a ride in today because of my hobbled nature. And he's already passed all 4 CPA exams. He's incredibly smart. He gets his smartness from his mother. Probably his athleticism from me. I like to think so. But he's doing okay for himself. Yeah, he's a smart cookie. And, it's I have no problems with my kids. They've never, ever given me a problem. So don't hit your kids.
Okay.
Yeah, and give them positive reinforcement. And, just always try to be good, no matter what your religion, or even if you don't have a religion. It's like, always be a good bar.
There's a book out now, put out by a guy who studies data from online sources. All right? And he has found some remarkable things. For example, Netflix used to ask people, oh, you're selecting this movie? Great. What's the next movie that you intend to watch?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And people would usually say some movie that's very sophisticated, right? Something.
My answer would be, I don't know.
Something historical, or some kind of art movie, or a movie based on a famous novel, right? But then Netflix would actually look at the data and find out, well, the next movie they rented was either a superhero or a mindless comedy. So in other words, when you would ask them what the next movie is, they would say, it's going to be X. And you want them to think like you're this intellectual person.
Oh, I see.
But when it comes right down to it, you're not. Now, this author talks about the banking industry, about people who took out a loan and then couldn't pay it back. What did they have in common? So they studied all the details of these people with the loan, right? And the people who defaulted, the same phrases kept popping up in their application where they write it out why they want the loan. I promise I'll pay you back, right? I promise you will not regret this. Or the word God. I swear to God that I will pay you back. Or they would mention a relative. On my mother's grave, you will get your money back. All the people who put those things in their application, they didn't pay it back.
Yeah, I none of those examples you gave, though, Richard, said that they believed that Santa Claus was looking over their shoulder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not making light of that, but I totally believe, that, they're trying to impress upon the lender. Yeah, and trying to say, hey, this is the kind of person I am. Yeah. And trying to promote themselves. And it's like, it's not necessary. I don't believe that, answers to questions like that. Do you?
I thought that whole example might resonate with you because in your line of work, you deal with the public. And I wonder if you ever hear somebody's side of a story and think, this could be pretty fabricated, but I'm going to kind of go along with it.
Sometimes, rules and regulations, they can't be broken, but certain reasons can be explained, and then you can get an understanding of where somebody's coming from. That does not let them off the hook because something happened, and let's just take, for instance, a payment. But it explains why a payment wasn't made, as an example. And, I like to think that I'm a good character analyst in that, I'll do what I can, but if it really comes down to it, it's not my authority, I'll appeal to a higher level. And I'll say, I really think this person's on the up and up. What do you think? But then they may come back and say, well, what you're saying is fine. Okay, we'll think about it. We'll review it. Then again, maybe they'll have other past evidence of this person and that I didn't even know about. And it was like, oh my God, he's very delinquent and stuff, and then you learn that way, So I don't know everything. I'll try to help people where, I think crying, will usually indicate, something serious.
You've had an instance where someone has cried on the other end of the phone?
Oh, sure. But, as long as I get that feeling, just an inkling that what they're saying is true or could be true, I'll go to bat for them, and we'll see what happens. It doesn't always work out. I really don't have authority in what I do. I'm a facilitator. I just facilitate stuff. And it's kind of like with your kids, like we were talking before. You try to promote the good. And I'm just more of a field service person in that regard, But once again, there are rules and regulations that people have to adhere to. But occasionally there are exceptions. But there better be a damn good reason, for it. And, usually, lots of times there are, you learn stuff every day, Yeah, it's very surprising what comes along, and sometimes it's rules and regulations pertaining to the economy or to the government. And then it's like, well, maybe that could be, an influencer. We'll give it a go. We'll review it. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, the next thing I'll be adding to my notebook has to do with opioid addiction. When they look at the data, there's 3 groups that are most susceptible to becoming addicted to opioid addiction. People that do not have insurance. In other words, they're going to medicate themselves.
Uh-huh.
People that are unemployed, and I didn't write down the third one because it's still on my computer ready to be.
Some kind of disadvantage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that brought up what you said about the economy, how the economy can affect our behavior.
Definitely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's see if there's another thing I wanted to ask you about.
Extenuating circumstances.
Oh, yeah, I know what I wanted to ask you. Do you meet, or have you met, as you've gone through your life, people that are difficult to get along with, friends, and you have to say to yourself, should I continue to be their friend even though they're difficult to get along with, or should I cut ties with them?
I can't remember, maybe younger, if somebody was too boisterous or wanted too much of my time. But for the most part, no, I don't really recollect, shunning anybody. A lot of my life, Richard, I'm more of a lone wolf myself, so maybe that explains that. I'm not really into groups or teams, but I associate a lot with groups and teams and associations and stuff. But I'm not a member of same. That works for me, and maybe that's a big part of the reason why I haven't really shunned anyone, like that kind of circumstance. I don't have too many friends, maybe a handful, 5 to 10 that I consider real good friends, but they're the kind of friends that you don't see all the time. Concert friends, okay? I see them at the Canal Side concerts, we do go to parties, but there's not too many of them. Maybe a football party here, there. It's not a constant thing. I think there's a heck of a lot more people that have a lot more friends, and they're always doing stuff with their friends. But that's not myself. I'm more of a sole performer than a group or team person. Yeah.
What are some activities that you gravitate toward?
Jogging. I love to jog.
But you also mentioned going to the concerts.
I liked also concerts. Now they're $5 at Canal Side.
How did you feel about that? Did you like them better when they were free in downtown Buffalo?
Oh, of course. But I totally understood that. Art Park did the same thing previously. And I think it does cut the crowds a bit. I don't know if it particularly cuts the obnoxious drunk individuals.
You've witnessed these people at these concerts?
No, I don't know what they're talking about.
You haven't witnessed drunken, rowdy people?
No, well, yeah, but, it never got to the point where I was like, will you pipe down so I can listen to the music? I think Jeff Myers had a couple articles in the news, which seemed to me kind of silly. I suppose it happens, but I don't know. Maybe it's just when you're listening or really want to listen to something and people are yelling and screaming and have a good... I thought that was part of having a good time. I don't know.
What's the last time you went to the movies?
It's been a while. Probably 4 or 5 months ago. Me and my wife like to go out to the Aurora in East Aurora because they have old-time popcorn. And the prices are pretty reasonable too, and it's it's a fashionable village.
Did they show current movies or old movies?
Oh no, they show current ones. Yeah.
So what was the movie you went to see?
I can't remember.
Anyway, but this is the reason I brought it up. Have you noticed that more and more? I have to ask you this because I haven't been in the movie since 1990. But have you noticed that as the time has gone on, more and more people will take out their phones during the movies, and you see their faces light up from their phones? Have you witnessed this?
No.
Okay.
Although I do witness a lot of phones being raised and people talking on the phones. There's a lot of that going
during the movies.
No, not. Hopefully,
you just witnessed it in the world.
Yeah. There's a lot of people. I hope their necks are okay. They're all bent down and looking at their phones.
What's your relationship to the whole world of a computer phone? Does it play a part in your life?
Not really, but I totally understand it. And communication is a good thing. I'm not against it. But if you're asking me, do I own a phone? No, I don't have a cell phone. I don't really need one because I got a phone at work. If anybody really wants to get a hold of me or ask my opinion about something, which I don't get too many calls. But, I don't know why I thought of this, but I wanted to say that, I think Buffalo is great, and I think it's always been great. It's always been a great place to live with lots of stuff, plenty of stuff to do, very reasonable prices on stuff. And for some reason, it was perpetrated in the newspaper that Buffalo had a negative image of itself. My thinking on this, my theory, is that you had all these out-of-town newspaper article writers come and live in Buffalo, and they started putting these articles in the paper, in the Buffalo News, saying how shitty we were, because they were comparing it with their towns where they came from, Boston, New York, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and stuff. I really think this is what happened. None of my friends believe me on this, mind you, but that's my theory. And all these articles got in the paper, and the people read them, and they said, we must be crappy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've lost these 4 Super Bowls in a row, and, we don't have this, and we don't have that. And what they were doing, they weren't emphasizing the positive. It was totally the opposite. And they had all these people fooled. And a big reason for this was my friend Mark Monjovi. He used to come up to us after reading the sports page, and his opinions were the same as what were in the sports section. It was like, no, you've got to have your own opinions. You don't want to say what somebody else is saying, because it might be wrong, But that's my theory. I really think that's what happened, because I was reading these articles by these out-of-town writers, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait, where are they coming from? Saying, oh yeah, Buffalo's got a bad image of itself. We feel inferior to others. It was absurd. That's all I'll say about that.
Okay, so that shows how the media influences people's thoughts.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. Media is a good thing, but you want real facts.
There's a new thing that's out now where a tiny little chip can be put under your skin.
Oh, I saw that for that one business.
It contains all of your medical information.
Yeah.
If you're ever in an accident and you're unconscious, they just tap into the chip and they know, oh, he's got diabetes, he's got this.
Yeah.
Okay, so in other words, if they said to you, Jim, would you like one of these chips? You'd say, sure.
No, I would say, pay me something, sure.
But it's supposed to be for your good.
Eventually, after everybody else does, then I'll begrudgingly say okay.
Now, that's very interesting because that's what I wrote in my notebook. Because when this was on CBS this morning, they have 3 people that are the hosts. And Nora said, I'm not sure I want something like that as a part of my body. And Charlie Rose, he loves technology. He said, I'm all in. And the third person, Alex Wagner, said, I have reservations, but if you guys do it, I'll do it. 3 different approaches to technology.
That's funny.
You're in Alex Wagner's school.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
When everybody else does it, you'll do it.
Yeah, pay me. I'll be one of your guinea pigs. Yeah, but you're really not being a guinea pig. It's a positive thing. Yeah, it's all information. That's, because you may be knocked unconscious, and they'll go, hey, how are we going to help this guy? What kind of blood type does he have? And they go, hey, here's the chip monitor. There we go. Oh, he's an O. Okay, great. All right, put anything in him. Yeah.
Okay, I want to end this interview with a joke, but I want to ask you a question first. Is it okay to tell a joke about a heart attack? Or do you think it crosses a line?
I think it's okay to tell a joke about anything as long as you do it at the right time for the right audience.
Okay.
You just got to be careful. Yeah.
Well, tell me if I cross any lines by telling this joke, okay? At a local bar, a fellow clutched his chest. He fell off the bar stool and onto the floor. And everybody stopped what they were doing and they looked at this guy on the floor holding his chest. The bartender shouted out, anyone know CPR? And some joker from the back shouted, hell yes, I know the whole alphabet. And suddenly the whole place burst out in laughter. Well, not the whole place. There was one guy who didn't.
What kind of place was this?
A bar.
Just a regular bar?
A tavern, a local tavern.
Okay, but this person actually did fall to the ground with a heart attack.
Yeah.
Or was he part of a skit?
Well,
he's trying to con somebody or fool somebody?
He's part of the joke.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Some people like doing stuff like that. It's almost like Candid Camera. Remember that show?
Uh-huh.
Putting people on the spot.
Yeah.
I'm not really into that, but I guess a lot of people are. A lot of people like to see, how people react. But if it frightens them and scares them, that could be something that could possibly give the one guy they're pulling the joke on a heart attack. Really. So in that vein, I would have to say no. Yeah, maybe I was incorrect. Maybe, but well, then again, it has to be the right time and the proper audience. But see, that person that they're playing the trick on, he's part of the audience too. You got to keep in mind. So I'm trying to back up my reasoning there a little bit.
Do you have any farewell words for the people?
I'd like to say that it's been fun, Richard, and when you called me and you told me that you wanted to talk with me, I was thinking to myself, why would anybody want to talk with me? But I'm honored, that you would consider same, because I always like coming to the house of the future where there's always creativity going on. And there's always a dog or a couple of them barking in the house next door. Every time I come here, the dogs are barking at me. I don't know if it's me or what. I don't know if you and Tom are looking out the front window and going, I hope those dogs bark at him again. Yeah, okay, I barked at him. Okay, he deserved it, yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank you for participating in the I-Thou interview series.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been my pleasure.